Okay, I'm just doing some more pots now, and as I think we'll just carry on. Remember, you've got to have your slot in the bottom because the slot doesn't clog up. Basically it's made with a 6mm soldering iron. Doesn't have to be too flash. So you got it like there. Put it in there, like that, in the bottom, and then you can just sort of hold it down and push the sand out to the sides, basically. And so it doesn't have to be too flash, but sorry, am I moving the camera doing that? But sort of thing like that. And you slowly bring the sand up. But here's one I started about 5 minutes before, so probably be better. That's probably more centralised for you, so you can see it building up. Yeah. Yep, Dad's out the back potting up his charcoal SARRAs. It'll be good if you can, well, you never know, we might actually be able to get some rubies and things like that. It's so dark red. If Gideon discovers anything with the mount, well, hang on, he hasn't got the mount bowl pigs, has he? He's got the he's only got the Minkara and the Mount Compass. But maybe I'll get to send him some with the next Kessel run. But as I said, got to watch the pennies now. We're going into the southern Australian wet, or winter so to speak, in Abbott land, and things could get a bit dicey, a bit hairy over the next 6 months. You know, if it gets as cold as I said before, you know, on the Adelaide Plain like it did in the year 1980, the year John Lennon got shot later on after the southern Australian wet. That was the last time that water actually froze on the Adelaide Plain, and if it gets that cold this year, especially if we flip out from 15 years of extended El Nino drought into a much colder and longer La Nina period sort of thing, a bit like Game of Thrones in a way. Yeah, people, you know, the homeless and people who are becoming homeless because of all the budgetary ancillaries and addendums and things like that come usher forth from it. Well, it won't be long before, you know, the Murdoch newspapers may not at first try to report it, but once people start finding these dead bodies in the parklands and things like that, you know, the word will get round. Well, in my own city here at the moment, my Adelaide, and my former city of Perth, and you know, that's when they'll probably either be rioting on the streets or maybe just a sit-in. Maybe it'll be a case of like all the 5 major capital cities of Australia, and we just sit in the city and say, you know, that's it. Now we're not going to work. We're just going to stay here until here's a plane ticket, until Tony Abbott accepts his plane ticket. That's our sign to the nation that we're going back to. We're you know, terminating the concept of Abbott land, and we're going back to being Australia again. Here's a plane ticket, open-ended. We don't care how much it costs, don't care where you go, just piss off sort of thing. And that's a sign of good faith, basically. He just has to leave the country. I think that's the way it's probably going to go down. Otherwise it could be violence, and I think that's, as I said, you know, once they got you, and what's it John Lennon say, once they've got you violent, they know how to handle you. What they can't handle is humour and basically morals and the social constant. I think basically that's what it is. You know, this isn't the Australia I grew up in, and it's not the Australia I wanted to, you know, to remain. And it's just some sort of, it's almost like it's a hang on from the greed generation that led to the GFC. You know, it's all like, oh, we didn't quite get to do those greedy things that the rest of the world did, and we want to do those. It's our time to do those things, even though the rest of the world has basically moved on and learnt. These people thinking, well, they got away with it. We could probably do it so much better in Australia. We could be really greedy here, sort of thing. We got all these resources to be greedy with. Whereas I think Gina Reinhardt should just open up her checkbook, and we'll give her the choice. You got to spend half your checkbook, Gina. It's either going to be the very fast train down the eastern end of Australia, or it's going to be the National Broadband Network. We'll give you that choice. You can choose, but it's got to be one or the other. I reckon that's the way it's going to be. So Gina, don't worry, you know, you've got 250 billion. You know, what's half of 250 billion? You'll still be able to buy the old hamburger at McDonald's, you know, you'll still be able to rent a DVD or a doy down at the local shops or something. You may even actually be able to watch it online with real broadband if we actually invest in the national broadband network. You know, it's only going to cost you, set you back, well, what they reckon, what, 55 to 75 billion dollars? My God, I mean, if you choose that one, you'll be quids up. Yeah. Because after all, Gina, they are our resources in our land, and they basically really belong to us. We're just giving you the opportunity to make some profit out of digging them up for us. Because basically that's what you're doing. You're digging them up on our behalf. Because those resources are supposed to be taxed, and those taxes are supposed to be spread out across the country and to benefit all Australians, not just you. Yeah. You greedy little stuck-up princess. I think. Didn't you learn anything from your father, eh? Or maybe you learnt too much. Yes. About time you got a clip round the ears, I reckon. Yeah. Should never hit a woman, but I think you're probably the second exception, I think, in my life. Well, you're certainly acting the way you deserve it. You know. Well, you're going to miss half of that, you know? I don't think so. I mean, I think anybody could live comfortably on, what, 175, was it? 250, so 125 billion dollars. I reckon you could easily live quite well just on the interest of 125 billion dollars. So yeah, I reckon we're gonna cut. If the country doesn't get any better, we're gonna come for you. I'm just putting you on notice, Gina. After we've dealt with Tony Abbott, we'll probably be coming for you and Twiggy and a few of the other people, okay? And I suppose depending on how Clive Palmer plays his hand in a W dissolution, we might actually come for him as well, because he's got to keep his word, hasn't he? We've elected him, and if he doesn't keep his word, he could be. We might be giving him a plane ticket out of the country as well. So you know, watch out. The people are not only listening, we're actually watching. And as I said, Tony Abbott's talked this country down for about 3 bloody years, and now he's lied to the nation. And I think we've had enough. I think it's actually more the talking down of the country that we don't like, and the way he's trying to convert it to some sort of... there was some list that came out I think it was last year. Oh no, it could have even been earlier than that. It could have been 2012. Of a list of 75 points, and most of those points on that list are starting to be acted upon. And that's a bit of a worry, because it's like they've got a sort of a script, an agenda, a plan, and whatever you want to call it. And anyone can look these points up, but most people don't seem to want to do it for some reason. I don't know. I mean, once I've read that they want to abolish the SBS and, you know, Auntie and, you know, the ABC Auntie, you know. I mean, Auntie's family. You touch Auntie, you're gone, mate. You touch us. We've grown up with Auntie, and she's also instilled, you know, American values into our culture by series like Happy Days and all those other American sitcoms and series that we got through the 1970s sort of thing. So, you know, just watch out. If you go near Auntie, she's family, you'll hear from us all right. And what about B1 and B2? You know, once you start affecting the children, the women of the nation start taking notice in what if their children are affected. So, yeah. I think I've learnt from past experience, I basically have to fill it up to the top in these buckets, and then when I add the water it goes down to just the right level, but I don't press it down too hard. I just fill it up to the surface like that. I'll probably have to level them too, like that. That's for the first one. So I don't think you've got to see the first one when I do it like that, and just sort of put it in like that. And then when I put my spacer disc, I'm going to have to level it up, fellas, you know, but that will come in a minute. And I'll just fill these up. I think I've just got about enough to do these. It's a long clip, I know, and probably a bit of a rant, but you never know. We might some people may be watching this in 1,000 years' time, depending on what goes down in Australia later on. It started with a YouTube clip, I don't know, but you never know. It might be some school kids in another 1,000 years' time, and I'll be long gone. And they'll say, well, you know, the basic ideas of this mini French Revolution started off probably in this clip. I don't know. I don't think I'm really in that sort of zone. But one thing I have noticed is what's happened to Malcolm Turnbull. He's been totally silent. You know, you think you at least get a pipsqueak out of him at the moment, but no, he's keeping a pretty low profile at the moment. Anyway, I think that's about it. Let's just move the camera over. Oh, you should have done that all along. Oh no, there's a bit of a rusty bit out there. That's probably why I didn't do it. Anyway, over and out for this clip. We'll get on to the next one, I think.